Hey, everybody. Okay, so last live, and by the way, this is day 5, go live on the Go Live Challenge. And the very last one, we talked about the chemistry of a thought, how neurons or brain cells actually function. Thoughts are electrical reactions in your brain that causes your neurons to release neurotransmitters that communicate like dominoes throughout the vast network of your entire brain, which, yes, influence your emotions and consequently your behavior. So they're uber important when it comes to your mindsets and just having stability about your day with your emotions and so forth. Now, some people say thoughts come before emotions, emotions come before thoughts. Other people say they're so intricately wound together, it's really hard to tell the difference. But either way, science suggests that roughly 80% of your thoughts are negative and 95% are repeated. That's astounding to me. Essentially, that means that your brain is trained to cascade a thought using the same neurological pathway in your brain. Like they're all connected, like your turn, your turn, your turn, your turn, your turn. That's what the neurotransmitters are actually doing. And it's influencing you in so many different ways because different parts of your brain are being lit up, so to speak. You know, it's like going down, like sledding down a snowy hill. The first time you go down, maybe it's a little bumpy, but then there you go. The next time you go down, it's a little bit easier because over time and with repetition, that original slight cut becomes a really entrenched kind of groove. And it's like a gutter almost. And the same thing is true of your thinking patterns and what you do, the entire thought process. The same thing is actually going on. And that's where you've heard people talk about rewiring your brain or the electrical circuitry of your brain, because when you get in those grooves, it's kind of hard to get out. That's why you kind of think the same thoughts over and again, repeatedly thinking them, something triggers it, and then boom, there you go. The domino avalanche starts. And then maybe you're remembering something painful in your past. Maybe you feel guilty or you feel ashamed. Maybe something just causes your mood to dip. Whatever it is, it's something that's you've probably thought before, and there's a well entrenched kind of groove neurologically in your brain that can be seen when just through the electrical circuitry alone and how your neurons are actually communicating with each other. And that's going to keep happening. You're going to go down the same groove. You're going to keep thinking the same thoughts. And remember, the lion's share of them are negative. So if you find yourself kind of stuck, you're in that groove and it's hard to get out unless there's something there to interrupt it. And that's the good news, because you can rewire your brain or help your thoughts make brand new grooves in your brain, healthy ones, right? Well, why is this important? Because you can if you can think your way into negative attitudes and mindsets and emotions, then you can certainly think your way out. That's the good news. You know, over my years of study and based on my own personal experience of overcoming depression with God's help, by taking every thought captive and bringing it under submission to Christ, that's 2 Corinthians 10:5, I learned to be transformed through the renewing of my mind. And that's coming from Romans 12:2. So that renewal process is kind of like interrupting those old thought patterns. Get out of that groove. You're stopping the sled as it's just pummeling on down the hill. You're saying, nope, you're going to interrupt that and you're going to form a brand new one. And that's what mind renewal really is all about. I created the 7 R's for living your best thought life. And today on this Go Live, day 5, we're going to unpack the first R, which is recognize. If you want to change your thoughts and your thinking patterns, you must first recognize what you're thinking about. That only makes sense. Think about it. It would be difficult for you to change a flat on your tire in your car if you didn't know which tire was actually flat, right? You must first recognize, oh, this is the flat tire right here. I can see it. This is the one that needs to be changed. It has no air. So I'm going to remove that one. And so it is with your thoughts. The first R is recognize. So how well do you recognize exactly what you're thinking about? It's actually easier than you might think. Let me give you 5 concrete ways to do so. Okay. And you can try this right now. Even the first one would be to focus your attention. You might even say, okay, I'm going to breathe deeply. I'm going to kind of clear my head a little bit. And I'm just going to focus and think about what I'm thinking about. Because before you can recognize what you're thinking about, it's helpful just to take a moment or two to clear your mind and bring your attention right now. Like none of the distractions that are going on around you. You're going to really focus right now and think about what you're thinking about. Number two is notice your emotions. Emotions are humongous road markers or indicators for particular thoughts. So pay careful attention to how you're feeling. Are you happy, you sad, angry, anxious, or some other emotion? Your emotions can actually give you a clue as to what you might be thinking about. The third one is just observe your surroundings, because your thoughts are coming into your brain, right? You have all these nerves, optic nerve, you have the auditory nerve, everything, your senses, think all of your senses, all of that is information going into your brain. So if you're observant about what's going on, then that's kind of giving you an indication of what you're probably thinking about. If a gorilla busted through my door back here, of course, my senses are going to hear that, see that, maybe smell that, and oof, I'm going to react. My thinking is going to take off in the direction of there's a gorilla in my doorway. So observe your surroundings, take a look around. What are you seeing, hearing, smelling, and feeling? Your environment can trigger certain thoughts. Number four, ask yourself questions. To help pinpoint your thoughts, ask yourself questions like, what am I worried about? Or what do I want to do next? These questions can help bring your thoughts to the surface. And then number five would be write it down. Writing down your thoughts can help you recognize what you're thinking about more clearly. You can keep a journal, a notepad handy, and jot down your thoughts as they come to you throughout the day. And you're probably thinking, wait a minute, we have between, some people say 6,000 thoughts a day, and other people say upwards of 60,000 thoughts a day. That's a lot. But those 6,000 are kind of like thought clusters, and they kind of group them together and just say, okay, that's kind of its own little thought, even though it may have triggered a lot of subsequent thoughts. They're kind of keeping those together. Whereas other people say, nope, there's a whole lot more that we're thinking. So you're thinking, how am I going to write all those down? Well, don't be daunted by that. You can simply start, especially if your thoughts are not what God says about you, not what God says about himself and his very character, and not what God says about your scenario, whatever hardship or trial, whatever you're going through right now. If your thoughts don't line up with biblical truth, then that means you're probably in a groove that you need to recognize and then revert that, or reroute it, I should say, reroute that particular thinking pattern that's stubborn. So try to get them down, because that's going to help you identify anything that is recurring over and over and over again. So those five things you can do to recognize what you're thinking about would be focus your attention. Number two, notice your emotions. Number three, observe your surroundings. Four, ask yourself questions to just pinpoint what you're thinking about. And then five would be to write it down. Now, I would encourage you to start today by recognizing what you're thinking about. And after you follow the 7 R's all together, you're going to start to change. This is just the first one. And we're going to go through all 7 R's for living your best thought life. You can do this by focusing your attention literally on what you're thinking about, tracking your emotions and feelings, keeping an eye out in your surroundings for items that may be triggering certain thoughts in you, and ask yourself questions like, why am I thinking this? Or why am I feeling so sad? And then just pinpoint those thoughts by finally writing everything that you can down. You don't have to write down, you don't even have 6 thoughts, 660, whatever. It just gets some down and start there, because you can even pray about it and ask God, what thoughts or mindsets or attitudes, what do you want me to start with? Because I'm recognizing that I've got some stinking thinking going on, but I don't even know how to uncover that and untop that. So ask God to help you, and he'll do it. And you're going to learn to rewire your brain. I've got my parts of the brain. This is only parts of it, because my dog Smokey has been eating my brain and chewing on my brain. And my brain is currently in a whole lot of pieces. So I don't have the puzzle pieces kind of put back together yet, but you can rewire your brain. You'll build new neural pathways to travel down that snowy hill. You'll disengage from negative thinking and power up your brain with the fruit of the Spirit. So there you have it. God bless you. Thank you for tuning in. I'm just so glad that you're here. And be sure to give a thumbs up if you can. Leave a comment. Let me know that you're here. I would love to know. And I'll repurpose this into a podcast episode if you missed part of it and want to catch it that way, and also throw it up on YouTube. So I appreciate your support. Thank you so much for all that you're doing. God bless you.